started dropping down and they look like flying saucers. And it was like alien invasion. He turns around and he's got like a whole bunch more rockets like loaded up in his gun. Oh, okay. Make an edit point. Boop. And he shoots down all these things. All right, we're back. Talking about Bombshell. So when we just left off from audio difficulties, we were talking about Charlize Theron and Nicole Kidman playing Megyn Kelly and Gretchen Carlson, and John Lithgow playing Roger Ailes. And one of the more impressive things about this film was the transformations that these actors made in coming in and becoming these characters that are not characters. These are real humans. And that is, there's a difference between impersonations and becoming and acting and being, getting into character. And, while John Lithgow made a pretty incredible visual transformation into Roger Ailes, it was still very John Lithgow. And Nicole Kidman, again, visually looked very Gretchen Carlson, almost to a weird point where it was kind of uncomfortable to look at her face because it just, you couldn't stop unseeing Nicole Kidman. But the real, I think an award needs to be nominated for this, but Charlize Theron transforming into Megyn Kelly was one of the most impressive things I've seen on screen in a long time. There were moments where it was almost uncomfortable how much she looked, sounded, acted, and just was Megyn Kelly. And to a point, I was reading in an interview where Megyn Kelly said that even her son, who was very, very young, was like, I didn't know Mommy was a movie star. And it's like, no, that's not Mommy. That's Charlize Theron pretending to be Mommy.
I mean, she's like one of the main characters, like the one on the poster and all that?
Yeah, she's one of the main.
Whack. Yeah, I would have never looked at that and been like, oh yeah, that's Charlize under that makeup.
She nails it. She knocks it out of the park. And this movie is really interesting in a lot of ways because of course it's about sort of toxic masculinity in the workplace and the Me Too movement and how women in media, it's not exactly a healthy place, even to this day. I mean, it's still a work in progress, but people like Roger Ailes and other people like that were able to sort of create this toxic environment where they were the ones in power and no one was going to question it. But the interesting thing that I thought that this movie kind of illustrated in a way that I think is important, and of course, let me preface this by, I don't want anybody to think that I'm defending or making excuses for bad people. But one of the interesting things that happened in this movie is John Lithgow and a lot of movies about topics like this, or just movies in general where they need a villain, there is no likable element of these villains. Kind of like the Rambo movie that I often like to quote, where the bad guy, yes, he was the enemy general, but he was also a pedophile, and then he was also like a baby murderer, but then he also did something really, really awful, and I think he was a cannibal too. And it's like, we get it, the dude is evil. Like, he's an awful person.
You're talking from Rambo.
Yes, from Rambo. And, of course, yeah, the dude's bad. We got it. And, the thing about American movies and Marvel movies, and I think this is one of the reasons that people kind of clicked to the Avengers, Endgame, Snap, whatever, a little bit more than these other ones, and started to think that maybe it's, it actually tells a story. It's because it's one of the first times in American movies and on that level where you had a sympathetic villain. And sympathetic villains or tragic villains are one of these, they can lend to a more powerful story because you can empathize with both sides of the tale. You can see where you don't have to agree with the bad guy, but you can kind of see how the situation were to happen, and you can maybe put yourself and your own life experiences into that. And they did that in this movie because, Megyn Kelly in this film, her history with Roger Ailes, yes, there was a moment of darkness, But then she was also left with this moment of like, but he also wasn't horrible all the time, and he took care of a lot of people in troubled times, and she had an appreciation and a respect for him that went past that moment of him making advances at her, but it does not excuse that behavior. And so that moral dilemma that she has to have, and everybody has to have, it's like, it makes it very, very human, and it makes it hard. And because being human is hard, and it made that seem very, very real, instead of just going, oh, he's got a wiener and he's rich and he's white and he's evil. And it's like, well, yeah, we got it, we know that, but how do these things happen? How do these things, because a lot of people like to defend like evil pieces of shit like that and go, well, she should have just not blah 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 blah. And it's like, look, it's a human problem. There are things going on in both sides of this equation that make bad things become the outcome. And I thought they did a pretty interesting job of illustrating that. And there was a lot of little side things that were happening that I won't bother with explaining, but interesting little characters that were tertiary characters that had moments that illustrated larger social points that were kind of embodied in individual little bit parts. And it was interesting. I'm really glad that I saw it. I felt like this movie was very perfectly timed. I don't think this is a movie that's going to age incredibly well. Unfortunately, I think it's just going to be something that kind of falls, like, we're going to kind of forget Roger Ailes. And that's the problem with toppling power, is he was the man behind the curtain. And when those guys kind of fall, we don't really know or care after about 2 or 3 years, because he wasn't a celebrity. He was just a rich and powerful dude, and your average Joe at home viewer's not going to know Roger Ailes in 5 years. So it's here we go. Vince up in the comments, he says, I heard there's a part in it where they inferred someone tried to poison her. Yes, there was it was a side comment about, would someone do that? Is that it was about the Trump, it was the Trump staff hearing about a question she was going to answer, ask during the presidential debate, and he was the only people that they somehow knew about it before Roger Ailes even knew about their questions, and she got food poisoning from her coffee. And the suspected conspiracy theory is that Trump had someone give her food poisoning or try to poison her coffee so that she wouldn't be able to conduct the interview and ask him these hard questions at the whatever. But anyway,
this makes me feel like I should pay more attention to the news.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Sam in Facebook says it feels more like a TV movie. Yes, it absolutely does. Because a lot of our other movies feel like they have to be giant laser car exploding blockbusters to be movies. But
and something like that's in such recent history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's like a quick to the screen type thing there, huh?
I will say that there was another character, which the grip is going to be incredibly surprised to hear this. Kate McKinnon in a role that I did not hate. Kate McKinnon's one of those people that is just a seasoning in movies that I don't really like the flavor of, and because she's always usually at a 14 when it needs to be like at an 8. And she was fantastic in this she was a lesbian woman that was working at Fox News because she really wanted to be in journalism, and so she was this closeted lesbian liberal working in Fox News, but hiding it because she couldn't get a job anywhere else. And now that she's got a job at Fox News, she most certainly can't get any jobs at other news medias that she wants to work at. So it was like this awful kind of repeating catch-22 thing that illustrated in a whole bunch of other interesting points that we won't go into. But the movie wasn't bad. If anything, I think it definitely needs some acknowledgement for Charlize Theron and John Lithgow. Just some stellar performances and some unbelievable makeup and effects. Like Charlize Theron literally wearing eyelid prosthetics and like all this stuff to make this transformation. So it was pretty impressive. So anyway, Bombshell in theaters right now. You can check it out. It is out there.
Doesn't Disney own Fox News now too?
I think so. I think they own everything. Hulu, Fox News, ESPN, Fox. No, they don't own Fox News.
That wasn't part of...
That wasn't part of the deal. Rupert Murdoch would be an idiot to get rid of that.
So they got 20th Century Fox.
Yes.
They got Fox TV Network and FX, or not FX?
They did get FX,
okay.
I think, but not Fox News. That was a whole nother beast. So anyway, Bombshell in theaters right now. And let's see. I guess that's getting us pretty daggum close. Is there anything? Actually, if you could pull up a photo, see if there's a side by side of Megyn Kelly and you might have to Google it, but side by side Megyn Kelly and Charlize Theron, like it's pretty neat. Like she nailed it. Like that first one right there, that very, very first, boom, pull that one up. Like it's weird, and the voice is there, and
whack.
It was super weird, but she nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. So anyway, all right.
You know what? I didn't get to see a movie, but I did watch the first episode of The Witcher, since that was released recently.
I checked out The Witcher as well. Let's give a little quick rundown of The Witcher. I didn't know this. We were talking about this in the car the other day. We drove down to Silver Dollar City for the holiday Christmas thing.
It's pretty good.
It was a good time. We had wassail, and we had apple turnovers, and we had succotash, and hot chocolates, and all sorts of fun festive
Christmas
nonsense. Christmas candies. And but we were talking about it in the car. Like I had no idea that The Witcher was based off of a series of novels, which then turned into a successful series of video games, which is now becoming a show. I thought it was just a video game.
No, man. Yeah, it was a series of books, which I've never read the books, but I have played 2 of the 3 games. The one left out being the original, because I've never had a good PC for game playing. So I missed out on the original, but I do have the complete editions of 2 and 3 on console. And as far as the show goes, it's pretty in line with the games, the way that Geralt and the townspeople and stuff kind of are killing the monsters. And his voice, Henry Cavill actually does a voice that sounds eerily similar to Geralt from the video games.
I have never played the video games. I have no context for this, but I will say that his voice sounds very much like it's a video game character.
So Geralt, the video game character, sounds like a really bad voiceover, and it's always been that way. Like no emotion, reading lines, really poor at it. But by like the 3rd game, they just make that a part of his character. There's like missions where you do like stage acting and you're just really bad at it and everyone hates it, so they kind of make that part of the deal, is that he's just really bad at all of that. But I think that goes into the whole Witcher's not feeling, so they don't really express like other people would, but Henry Cavill he sounds, and kind of in the show, when you watch it in motion rather than the set photos or the trailers, he looks a lot like video game Geralt too. So old Gerald of Riviera, he makes it work.
So,
but I'm only on episode 1. I'll keep watching the series there and see how it progresses from here, because right now
my deal, just going off the first episode, I'm on the 3rd episode. It feels like I'm watching a video game, and that's not a compliment. Like don't get me wrong, the set design's really cool. Some of that action choreography, like that sword fight scene in the very first episode, is pretty baller. But I don't know. It feels like I'm just going from cutscene to cutscene to side quest to side quest, and because I think maybe it's because I don't have any frame of reference for this that I'm not being pulled in by these characters yet. And by the time I'm in episode like 3, so there are more characters that are coming into play here, and I'm gonna hold my judgment back, but right now it just feels very video gamey.
Really, I thought it seemed kind of like the Jason Momoa Conan.
Is that a compliment?
I like the Momoa Conan, but then again, as far as reading books goes, I have read the Robert E. Howard Conan the Barbarian, like original stuff. I've read books of those. I have omnibuses and all these things. So my exposure to Conan is more than just Schwarzenegger. Now, given that that's like what I got into, and I was like, yeah, this is my jam. That actually sounds a lot like it. Yeah. But I've played there's a sweet Conan video game on 360 and PS3. There's a super cool Conan online game, the Age of Conan, and now there's another one that's done where it's like a build and survival game, like Ark type, but with Conan stuff. But the Momoa Conan's not bad. It's just it had more of the sorcery to accompany the swords in the swords and sorcery genre.
Well, there's definitely a lot of sorcery in, and I think that's my deal with The Witcher so far is, with things like Game of Thrones and things like I'm trying to think of some other sword and sorcery tales on screen, but we'll use Game of Thrones as an example. There is sorcery involved, but it is so minute, like that Lady of Flames or whatever, the Red Witch, and it's like the sorcery that we see is just just enough to make the land a little more mysterious and a little more intriguing. But this dude is just more or less like a LARPer standing out there going fireball, lightning bolt, and it's just weird.
Yeah, but a lot of sci-fi has stuff
I know
fantasy.
I know,
not sci-fi, fantasy.
But there's just something like I love reading it, like when I can read it in my head, and like reading the Wheel of Time books, or reading anything from Raymond Feist, who's one of my favorite fantasy authors.
The Wheel of Time Reardon,
Jordan, was it Jordan? Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, yes, like reading those is really cool, and I can get into those, kind of like Golden Compass. Like I really like those books, but when I've been really not. I've been avoiding trying to watch the live action because it's like, ooh, if I see a little talking otter going, "I'm your demon," and like going, "Let's go on an adventure," and then Berenson comes in and he's a polar bear with armor going, "Well, I don't like this. Let's battle." Like I don't know. It just seems like that's not something I want to see with my eyeballs, just in my imagination.
So your suspension of disbelief is not there. Is what you're
saying. It's harder when it's on screen. So yeah, Robert Jordan. That's okay. Yeah, Robert Jordan. Wheel of Time. But anyway, and again, one of the reasons I love the Raymond Feist Midkemia novels is because there's only like a handful of wizards in the entire world, and when they show up, you're like, oh shit, it's Pug. Okay, look, all right.
Like in Lord of the Rings, where it's like the magic isn't really all there. They're like, oh, magic. And they're like, well, what did that do? And they're like, you'll find out in 3 weeks' time. And you're like, oh, fuck you, Gandalf, dick sucker. You're such an asshole all the time. Sorry. I get, man, Gandalf's cool. And I always thought he was a really sick dude. But he sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like,
he was kind of
every time he shows up in the books, he's like, "In your life is more ruined than it was before." Bye. And they're like, "But wait," and he's like, "Nope, ethereal time wizard later." And then they're like, "Well, this guy sucks." And then he shows back up and he's like, "Hey, heard you almost died." And they're like, "No, someone did die." And he's like, "Oops,
want to smoke reefer?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
How about some pipe weed to calm down, bro? Yeah.
Gandalf.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings wizards suck.
He should have been Gandalf the Green.
Or like we were talking about, like in Excalibur, the movie where Merlin is like, "And the dragon breathes and the mist lets you ride over to rape people. Who magic? You abused my magic. Forget you. You're dead. That's what you get. That's what you get."
And they're like, "Oh, but Merlin, we're sorry." Yeah.
But all he does is talk spells over a well, and then Helen Mirren comes in, and she's like, "Teach me your magic ways, Merlin. Teach me." And he's like, "No, you're evil." And she's like, "I promise I'm not evil." And he's like, "Here's a touch of magic." And she's like, "And now I'm evil, and I'll use your magic to kill you and my little brother Arthur."
He's like, "I knew it."
Yeah, and he's like, "Damn it, Helen Mirren.
That's why I only gave you a touch."
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. Wizards.
If you've never seen Excalibur, it's sick. It has Patrick Stewart.
It's true.
And Helen
Excalibur
Mirren
is pretty awesome.
And Liam Neeson.
That is some
And
real
it
OG
has
swords
super
and sorcery.
epic music. Bo, 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 bo. Bo, 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 bo.
Ho, 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 ho.
Yeah, that's Excalibur.
It's dope.
Pretty sick.
All right, well, let's get into the box office roundup because we are out of time, and I have to get back to work because I'm working a double today. Someone's just covering on for me for just a little while. But we're going to give you the top 10 movies this last weekend in America, and then we are going to get on out of here. And, man, I'm going to have to rework. I'm going to leave how many weeks these have been out because I don't like the way they're doing this right now. So we'll figure this one out later. We're just going to do the top 10. Number 10, Queen and Slim from Universal, bringing in $581,000 at the box. This is how draining that Star Wars is from the box office, is because the top 7, 8, 9, and 10 didn't even break $1 million this year or this week, and that's pretty rare. Most movies at least make $1 million at the box office, but Queen and Slim only bringing $581,000 in its total release, bringing it up to $36.5 million in its domestic run. Excuse me. Number 9, Black Christmas, dropping. It has not been a good run for Black Christmas. It was number 9 last week too, from Universal Pictures, bringing $589,000 at the box office. So far, bringing up to $7.2 million at the box office. Number 8, Ford versus Ferrari. Man,
so little money for a horror movie.
Dude, I know. Well, Black Christmas, kind of like I told everybody last week, it's a remake. If you want to go see Black Christmas, watch the 1974 original or one of the other remakes. It's been remade a bunch. This one, not so much. If you want a weird classic Christmas horror movie, check it out. If you want a new classic Christmas horror movie, don't watch that. Watch Krampus, which came out a couple years ago. That was actually really good.
I did the other day. I don't know if I'd go as far as say really good.
It's cool. You don't like? Did you get scared?
No. Were you supposed to be in that movie with like Slug jacking the boxes? Like,
yeah, dude.
And like,
yeah, dude.
The elves that come in break through the window like,
dude. Yeah, Krampus is tight.
It wasn't scary. It starred Adam Scott and
no, it's not scary at all. But you get scary you just a little scared boy sometimes.
I'm not scared. I just don't like it. Okay.
Anyway, Ford versus Ferrari, the number 8 movie in America, $683,180 at the box office from 20th Century Fox. So far, bringing in $102 million at the box office.
The Krampus ending confused me, and I don't like it.
That's because it's an open ending.
Yeah, I hate that.
Every good horror movie has an open ending, so that when you're at home.
Yeah, but the open ending is usually like, "Oh, Freddy fingers," and you're like, "Oh, Freddy, you still."
Well, we'll see you next year, maybe. Yeah, exactly. It's not like Krampus fingers.
Yeah, that would have been
coming out of the ground. Anyway, number 7, Richard Jewell from Warner Brothers, coming in with $820,000 at the box office, bringing in its total domestic gross up to $9.5 million in its run. Number 6, Bombshell, bringing in $1.4 million in its continued release from Lionsgate, bringing its domestic gross up to $5.5 million at the box office. Number 5, Cats. opening up at number 5 with only $1.8 million at the box office from Universal Pictures, bringing its total opening run so far to $6.6 million.
The budget on that has to have been like 120 minimum.
Oh, easy.
To turn everyone into CG
easy
cats without wieners hanging off of them or whatever the deal is.
No wieners, no booty holes.
But they got
none of it.
Boobies hanging off, and they're all Idris Elba-y with creepy eyes. And
it's true. All of those things are true. Number 4, Knives Out from Lionsgate, being out for quite a while now. $2.2 million this week in the box office, bringing its domestic gross up to $89.9 million. Number 3, Frozen 2, out for, almost a month now. $4.7 million this weekend at the box office, hanging in there. It has not left the top 3 since it's been out, but bringing in $387 million at the box office for Walt Disney. That is a lot of money for Disney Studios, considering the number 1 movie in America is also from Disney Studios, and their combined so far earnings is going to be like in the billions. But number 2, Jumanji: The Next Level from Sony, having $9.3 million in its couple of weeks now being out, bringing its total domestic gross to $102 million at the box office. And the number 1 movie in America, to no one's surprise, despite being one of the I would say poorest reviewed and opening up to less monies than previous Star Wars movies, especially trilogy movies, but opening up with 40 point, let's see, 177.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 177. That's the daily. What do we got there? Boom. Let's go at that 177. Yeah, $177.3 million at the box office. That's a big one. That's a big ass one. In the comments there, it looks like Travis is saying there was a $95 million. I'm guessing that's for the Cats budget. Cats budget for a $95 million movie, bringing in $6.6 million in a weekend is not a good opening weekend. That's pretty rough. Pretty rough. But yeah, Jumanji, $102 million domestic. Star Wars, $177 domestic, and it's only been out for a weekend. That's big. That's big numbers. We'll see. All right. Anyway, Star Wars. Probably going to go check it out this weekend or on Christmas for sure. You're probably going to go see 1917.
Yeah, I'll find a way to watch Star Wars, but if possible, sometime before the next show, I want to definitely try and see 1917. And if we have Ip Man anywhere
if we have
here,
Ip Man 4, we're going to be there. But I have a feeling that we're just going to have lots and lots of shows of Star Wars in IMAX, Star Wars in 3D, Star Wars in regular digital, Star Wars in the closet, Star Wars over in this one, Star Wars projected on the back next to the dumpster, Star Wars. Yeah, it's just going to be everywhere.
One of the employees holds his cell phone and cups his hand by the speaker while everyone's staying. He sets it on a trash can lid,
on a popcorn bucket upside down.
so that 5 people can gather around and watch it.
Yeah. So Vince wants us to really watch Cats. I will try. I will definitely try to check out some Cats for you guys, because I need to see it anyway if it's as bad as it's supposed to say, because we have to make our worst of list. But anyway, so yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. That's right, I said it. Merry Christmas. I'm not even a Jesus guy. Like, and if you want to go by scientific records, I'm pretty sure he was born on March 23rd, not Christmas. But whatever. It's the holiday season. I don't care who you are, what you believe. Have a great time. Be merry. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. I'm the boom operator,
and I'm the grip.
Any parting words? You had a word there.
Oh no.
All right. Merry Christmas. We'll see you guys next week.